Namaste, Brahmashanama. This is my second time recording this. The first time I was out in the garden and I put my trust in technology once again, and it failed. And so there's only one person to blame but me. Because Crapple is infamous in my life, in my experience, to always do this to me. So this is not rehearsed, it's not scripted, it is quite natural, and I will gather everything I've said because it is not me, it is the divine message for us. So I will start now. I will start with my mantra. Excuse me. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. Om Bo Bruvaswaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Divasya Dhimahi Vijojona Prachodayatum. Om Bo Bruvaswaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Vijojona Prachodayatum. Shanti, 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 Shanti. Om. May the light of truth dissolve my ignorance. May the light of truth dissolve my ignorance. May the light of truth dissolve my ignorance. May my words be true. May my words be in alignment to the divinity. I only speak the truth. O great Lord, creator of all things, may you manifest in this moment once again and over 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 again. And it gets better than this, and it gets better than this, and it gets better than this. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I always start my videos or messages in invoking the universal light, the universal truth. We all live in some form of ignorance, which is the darkness, and the light of truth dissolves that shadow. For the last few days, I've been getting chunks of downloads of information, and it has come to ripen. The rose has bloomed. This morning after I showered, I walked into my shrine, and I picked up my Gita, one of 2 volumes. If you guys are interested, this is God Talks with Arjuna, the Bhagavad Gita, the Royal Science of God Realization by Paramahansa Yogananda. And so I asked the divinity to guide me in what it needed me to do. And so I used the tome and opened it up exactly where this is all heading. And if you guys have one or want to research it, it is page 347, verse 9. And it begins with the nature of right action, performing all works as oblations, jhana. Worldly people are karmically bound by activities that differ from those performed as ajna, religious rites. O son of Kunti, Arjuna, labor thou, non-attached in the spirit of jhana, offering actions as oblations. Worldly people perform actions with selfish motives and the desire to gain material profit and happiness, owing to the inclination that they are karmically tied to the earth throughout successive incarnations. The yogi, however, strives to perform good actions in a spirit of selflessness and non-attachment. He thereby quickens his evolution towards soul freedom. All such liberating divine duties may be termed yajna. The word yajna has many meanings. It refers not only to the act of ritualistic worship, but to the sacrifice or oblations offered into the sacred fire. It is also the fire itself, as the deity Vishnu, to whom the offering is made. Yajna is any selfless act or sacrifice offered solely to God. It is the religious rite in which the soul offers itself as an oblation in the fire of spirit. Thank you. So today I want to talk about a few topics. I'll start with my personal experience. Science and spirituality are one. Spirituality came first, and it birthed what we call now science. And they are technically the same thing expressed verbally, intellectually, differently. So when I use the word science and technology or science and spirituality, it's the same thing. If I use the word God, divinity, source, I'm just attempting to describe the unknown. The only thing that I can honestly say that I can also describe it as the creating force that creates universes and all that within that universe or dimension. So may the lesson begin and may the wisdom unfold as you, O Lord, desire it so. We subscribe to many things in our lives, many different beliefs. If you subscribe to a membership of the New York Times, everything within that subscription, that newspaper, is what you will receive. Your consciousness will be based on that information within that subscription. A man who only has read the Bible, his consciousness can only go as far as that knowledge he's acquired and any wisdom attached to it, but the consciousness won't go beyond. So it is important for us to acquire knowledge, but it's just not in acquiring the knowledge, it is putting the knowledge into action and into practice. But before we adopt any philosophy, any information, we have to use reasoning, discrimination, and discernment to see if this is a truth. If I subscribe to the New York Times, the only information that comes to me is that. I can't expect for me to receive the National Geographic magazine or the Vogue magazine. All I will get is the New York Times. That's what I subscribe to. Everything within that context of that newspaper is what I have because I subscribe to it. You have to mind my children, they're doing what they do. That is the subscription I signed into. I won't get the information from another source, what's in the National Geographic magazine inside the New York Times. I may get snippets, but not the whole picture. We have to use our discrimination when we sign up for all sorts of discrimination. I'm poor, I'm black, I'm rich, I'm Hispanic, I'm a spiritualist, I'm a yogi, I'm a this, I'm a that. These are all subscriptions we tend to adopt for ourselves and sign up for freely. And that can cause a problem. In our modern technology, in our modern world, I hear the term used a lot. I'm a spiritualist. I was initiated into this. I was initiated to that. I was this, I'm that, I'm this. And if you ask them, where did you acquire this knowledge? Oh, my mother taught me, my grandmother taught me. Okay, great, wonderful. Now, if you ask them, have they ever used their discrimination to test that which they've learned, chances are they probably didn't. They've just subscribed and seen that as the ultimate truth. Each human being, including myself, we are divine spirits. And when you really know what you really are, beings of light, spiritual beings, if you want to describe it as that, we hunger for this spirituality, and I think this is one of the reasons why in our modern times you see so many people searching for that spirituality, those lessons, those classes, those expressions. But if you know who you really are, that you are a spirit, a being of light within this carnate body, you really don't have to subscribe to someone else telling you what you are or who you really are. It is through the exploration of yourself that this being expresses itself. As my body, as my image, is the expression of how I feel, of what I think of myself, and the creation around me. We've been somehow blackballed, deceived into believing that we are this physicality. And we hunger for spirituality. We hunger to know what and who we really are. And we put trust in people. We put trust in companies. We put trust in all sorts of subscriptions, thinking that that will guide us, awaken the spirit. The spirit's already awakened in you. You're animated. You are that which you will, is and will forever will be divine. So we're searching for spirituality in the external. Someone to tell me what I should be as a spirit. And we then take gullibly and put our trust in an individual, in a program, in a company, expecting to know thyself, hoping that they're able to explain what this really is all about. And so we put trust in this subscription. We subscribe like with a doctor. We think, oh, because he's a form of authority, he has my well-being and interest, to his heart, and so he gives us high blood pressure medicine. We take it for so many years, 10 years, 20 years. Later on, we find out that that same medication is the cause of many other ailments and problems. And we're like, oh, and we just brush off, oh, the doctor didn't know, and so forth. So we put our trust very gullibly, very easily in someone else with a propaganda that this is what you need. This will show you your spirituality. This was what it is. I introduced through certain channels the works of Dr. David Hawkins, Power versus Force. This is a tool that awakens your consciousness, awakens your discrimination, and it is a scientific description of spirituality with tools in there to understand us and our consciousness. If you haven't read it, please do so. I know some of you watching have read it. Some of you I've recommended to read it again. So in this new world of subscriptions, of people teaching a spirituality that they themselves have subscribed to, We desire to know thyself so much, we take the propaganda and we put trust, something so precious and valuable, in someone else. And that's can be a little bit scary. I recently, I do chemistry projects, and I recently wanted to make a new product. I went into the garden. I grabbed a whole bunch of herbs. I measured it. I recorded all the process. I began the fermentation process. And then recently I distilled it. The intention of the chemical is for spiritual as well. If you ask me, does it work? My only answer, an honest answer, is I don't know. What I can say that I do know is that there's alcohol. And the reason I can tell you there's alcohol in there is because I use tools that tested the subject. And so, honestly, I can tell you that liquid contains 50% alcohol. The instruments have shown that this is what it has. When it comes into spirituality, what are the tools we have to test what someone is proposing to us? And this is where David Hawkins' works comes in, and a few others. Because they give us the tools and the reasoning tools to decipher and understand these concepts of spirituality. Discrimination is something we came programmed with. So we subscribe to this program. We now take a precious commodity of trust and put it into this individual program company, and they fall short. All because I put trust in that. And we put trust almost in anything so gullibly. Like, I trust my dog that will never bite me. And then one day, for whatever reason, he bites me. And then I'm disappointed. Now I'm hurt. Because you weren't never supposed to bite me. We do that with our relationships. My husband, my wife, she'll never cheat on me. And then, God forbid, that happens. And so you find out and you're hurt because you put trust in something else. And you have to understand, or something I've come to experience, is that whenever I put trust in something, that has a great possibility of falling short, failing me. And the expectations I put into that may work against me. So this program promises you'll be flying over the moon, and you don't get it. And as they were doing the propaganda, your imagination starts creating a scenario, more expectations, and then you find out you can't fly. And so you're hurt, you're disappointed. And that brings your energetic field down. Your desire, which is a very tricky emotion, desiring your spirituality, caused you to make choices. And sometimes those choices weren't the best because you didn't use your instruments to validate if this was the thing for you, the substance you needed. So the desire is very tricky, and it is part of that story we tell ourselves. I desire to be a spiritualist, to fly, and your mind with the desire, yeah, I'm gonna fly and I'm gonna go over the moon and I'm gonna go here and go there and blah 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 and yada yada, and it doesn't happen, and now it's like catastrophe. Now you're hurt. Who wants to feel hurt? The question is, why am I feeling hurt? And you say, well, I put trust in them and they said that I'd be able to fly. I can fly, and it cost me X amount of dollars, and now I'm hurt. And the hurt, a new emotion arises, and that's called anger. And you are entitled to feel angry because you feel cheated, you feel betrayed. They didn't keep up to their word, they failed. And so now you have this anger. And so then we take this energy of anger and we focus it on one particular person, company, etc. And you did me wrong, and you promised me, and you blah blah blah. But the real question of the anger, of why you feel the anger, is not because they fell short. The anger is really more about you. You're just too entrapped in the experience, excuse me, and you're blaming the external versus taking the responsibility. That's hard. But if you really look at it, it was you. You subscribed. We all, again, with a subscription, I'm an intelligent individual. I graduated college. I have a master's. I'm etc., etc., etc. I can't be fooled. Subscription. Now you're fooled. Now maybe other people may see, oh, there that goes again. And so the anger happens with yourself, because how could I, an intellectual being, have fallen into that? And now I have to show face to them. And so there's an embarrassment, there's a shame. And that shame plus the mistrust and the anger can cause rage. But we somehow take it and focus it over there. You did it. I feel like this because you did it. And no, it's not there. I'm angry because I gullibly, selfishly, didn't use the tools to see if this was the truth for me. When you take this energy and you focus it on another human being, another object, you are consuming and wasting your vital energy on that. So they pissed you off. The law of attraction says that one thought for 15 seconds will attract another thought in its resonance, and they will continuously line up and line up and line up. And so now you're like furious at this subscription, and all your energy is focusing on that. And when you cool off, you find yourself extremely tired. I'm so drained. I'm so weak. Well, yes, you will be, because you took a vital priceless commodity, your energy. You wasted it on the subscription. Instead of focusing all that energy on the subscription, let's bring it back. Let's ground it back in. Okay, I fell into, the propaganda. I feel shame. I feel embarrassed. I feel disappointed. Now that you are aware of what you're feeling, now you can begin to heal. Some people are able to, although they recognize that they are the source of it, seem never to heal from it. And it just adds as another layer of shame in their life. And those layers of shame and anger and stuff, that keeps you down, keeps your conscious not down. And true healing, emotionally, spiritually, physically, becomes very hard. Because your resources are being wasted somewhere else. And then here comes another subscription to someone else. And here you go and do kind of the same thing, and you do another one. And then finally, one day, some people waking up and it's like, what the hell is wrong with me? I keep doing the same thing. You hear this all the time. I keep doing the same thing. I keep picking the same men. I keep picking the same women. Well, you're the common denominator. It's you. Not them, it's you. You bought into the propaganda, the subscription. So if you used your tools of reasoning and discrimination, you won't fall into that. When you self-realize, I'm easy to be convinced, I'm easy to drink the Kool-Aid, then you wait a minute. When the next one comes along with this yappy, you're like, let me see the proof. Let me see what you're offering. Let me review your work, and I'll get back to you. And then you can review the work, review and see how you feel. And using kinesiology from David Hawkins, you can determine if this particular subscription is the right one for you. When people come to me for lessons and stuff, from all walks, and they ask me, what do you do? I says, I teach sovereignty. I teach you to be free. The word sovereignty definition means to self-govern, to self-regulate. Technically, to be free, non-dependent of someone else. So if you really understand sovereignty, and you know who you really are, a being of light, a divine spirit, why do I need a subscription? The mere being present, being here, is spiritual, is the divinity expressing through physicality. So if you really know that, then why do I need gods and angels and ancestors and all these things to tell me what I really am? And part of the dissonance between you, like that anger we were talking of, is that there's a dissonance, an indifference between what your spiritual being is and that. Your spiritual being and yourself. Because your inner being is telling you, I'm not in agreement with how you feel. I don't feel that way. I'm not that way. That was just a lesson that we had to come, you, the physicality, the mind, the consciousness, needed to come to self-realize. And unfortunately, it cost you that much, and it cost you that much shame, and it cost you that much anguish, but you learned. So I'm okay with it, says the Spirit. So we have to come into that resonance back with our spirit. I see a lot of people doing this new spirituality, and I let them be. That's your path, and all roads lead to the divinity. All roads, no matter what it is, you end up square one, back to this divine being who you are, in connection with the divinity that creates universes. Let's use our spirituality and who we really are as and offer ourselves to the greatest good. That is one of the greatest spiritualities you could ever do. Offer yourself to the divine matrix, spirit, source. Your actions are the expression of the divinity. Not the flowers, not the candles, not all the thingamajig, but you being you. You knowing you. That is spirituality. I'm going to, I'm pretty impressed with myself. I kept it exactly how I did it outside the first time. Thank you. I want to thank you for chiming in. Please leave your comments. They will be reviewed. And explore who you really, really, really are. Namaste. Brahma Shalom.